Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 3rd, 2023 meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals. I could just take a moment to ask everyone to silence their cell phones and note that this meeting is being taped by FCTV. I'll start off by introducing members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Starting at the audience's far left to the board's right is Gerald Patamus, who's an associate member. Next is Frank Duffy, who is a full voting member. Next is Mark Finneran, who is a full voting member. My name is James Morse. I'm a full voting member, currently serving as chair. Next to Suzanne Murphy, who is a full voting member and the board's clerk. Next to Scott Peterson, who is the vice chair and a full voting member. Finally, we have Tony Pederucci, who's an associate member. We're also joined this evening by Noreen Stockman, our zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, our recording secretary. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town's zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicant and the public to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation. Time may be extended by vote of the board. The board will then question the applicant. Next, the public will be invited to comment. Public comment should be directed only at the project. Please refrain from making personal or derogatory statements and can include an opinion in favor or opposition or to ask a specific question about the project. Comments should be limited to 2 minutes. The chair will limit discussion in the interest of time if comments become repetitive. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair, should come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. Please speak into the microphone. It does not amplify your voice, but is provided for the benefit of FCTV viewers. The board may continue the hearing to a future date and time. Otherwise, when the board is satisfied that it has received enough information, the hearing will be closed. After the hearing is closed, no more testimony will be taken. The board will then discuss the proposal amongst themselves, make a motion to approve or deny the application. The motion will be followed by a key summary of findings and conditions. The affirmative vote of 4 members, a supermajority, is required for the approval of special permits, variances, or appeals. A split vote, 3-2, is a failure to carry and would result in a denial. Any zoning board of appeals decisions may be appealed as provided for in Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 17. First up on the agenda this evening is public comment. This public comment is for any item that is not specifically on tonight's agenda. Does any member of the public wish to make any public comment about anything that is not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none. We have no continuances this evening, so we'll jump into new hearings. First up, we have 051-23 Avini, 42 Squibnocket Drive, East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to expand the existing second floor and to make minor modifications to include a porch and new stairs.
We have Anthony J. Avini Jr. and Elaine Avini, I hope I'm saying it right, 45 Northfield Drive in Bridgewater, Mass. Apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-10-2A of the Code of Falmouth to expand the existing second floor and make minor modifications to include a porch and new stairs on subject property known as 42 Squibnocket Drive in East Falmouth. And from the boards in town, the different departments, I have planning has no comment. Water has no comment. They say the plans do not show any changes to existing water. Concom had a meeting and there's a whole decision in here that we will probably refer to. Engineering this application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Squibnocket Drive is a private right-of-way in this area. Any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, this project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-ways. And 4, where this project falls under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, we defer to the Commission for Stormwater Management and Construction Erosion Controls. That was from engineering. Nothing on that one. Health Issues has no problem. The septic system allows for a 4-bedroom. Then we have the Concom. I think that's all I have. Yep.
I believe there was a
And-
previous 1979 special permit.
Yes, there was a 79 special permit, and there are no letters of support or opposition, unless some came in today. I did this yesterday, and that's what I have.
For the applicant, good evening.
Thank you very much. For the record, Kevin Clower, and I am here tonight representing the Avenis, I always get it wrong, sorry, the owners of 42 Squibnocket Drive. They are seeking to alter the existing non-conforming dwelling through an expansion of the existing second floor. This property, 42 Squibnocket, is located at the northern end of Central Avenue. It's a dense residential neighborhood. The lot is 12,188 square feet, and it is in the AGB zoning district. Surprisingly, it is not in a flood zone. Presently, there's a 5-bedroom, single-family dwelling with a footprint of just over 2,000 square feet. It is non-conforming with regards to front yard setback. It's 21 feet 9 inches, where 25 is required. And also to rear yard setback, it's to the 3-foot contour of the waters of Vineyard Sound. It's 42 feet, where 50 is required. It's otherwise conforming to side yard setbacks and lot coverage requirements, both by structure and by structures, paving, and parking. Proposing a modest addition, it's an expansion of the existing second floor. This will allow a redistribution of space on the first floor and allows for a reduction in the number of bedrooms, going from 5 down to 4. It adds only 61 square feet to the footprint of the building. There's a cantilevered fireplace that's going to be added to the south side, and then a small porch and steps on the north side. The ridge height will increase slightly. It'll be 29 feet, 6.5 inches. This proposal does not impact the existing non-conforming setbacks. Though there is a minor increase in the footprint of 64 square feet, it will remain at only 16.9%, well below what is allowed by right. And in a rarity, it does actually decrease the bedroom count. However, due to the existing setbacks, this does require a special permit under 240-10.2A, formerly 243C. Under this section, pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed, provided this board finds that they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. You're asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not the alteration creates any new dimensional nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. In this case, as noted, there's no new nonconformities. The existing nonconforming setbacks are unaffected. There's no change to the views and vistas, and it does conform to the neighborhood. The project as proposed represents an improvement for the owners. It improves the living area on the first floor, reduces the bedroom count, and improves the remaining bedrooms, and is by no means substantially more detrimental than what is currently there. There's no adverse effects, and certainly none that would overbalance the benefits, and I believe this meets all the requirements of 1040-10.2A and 240-12.1E. For these reasons, I would ask that this board grant the special permit, and I would be happy to address any questions that you might have at this time.
Board questions, start with you, Tony.
I went out there. I think these plans will fit in well. I have no other questions. I think they'll fit in well with the neighborhood, surrounding area.
Scott?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a good project. It's well reviewed. I guess hopefully they fix the stairs along the side of the house because that was a slip, trip, fall hazard there. But no comments. Good project.
Suzanne?
Kevin, I read from Conservation, the stairs were not approved.
I'm not aware of that. We'd have to conform with whatever Conservation does approve. I was not at the Conservation hearing. I spoke with Mike Borselli, and he said it had gone well. He didn't mention anything specifically about some aspect of it not being approved. But whatever Conservation approves we'll have to conform with that, and if there's a slight change to the plans, we can obviously handle that administratively.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. We'll probably need revised plans. That's all
No, other than that, I almost fell down the stairs on the right, too. It's nice improvement.
Frank?
Let me go ahead and get back. So I too made a site visit, and I concur with some of my board members of
We all live.
We're going to fix those stairs.
what's out there, including the stairs. But I found it kind of difficult looking at the plans you submitted to determine where you were expanding the second floor.
So,
It's not really, do you have the ability to explain to us where the second floor addition is going to be here?
sure. So if you look, what we have here is the existing first floor, existing second floor, and the expanded. I actually think it's easiest, though, if I show you, if you look at the existing photos relative to the proposed rendering. So this is the proposal. Looks more like colonial in style. and then this is the existing, which is more of a Cape style. So it's really bumping the second floor up and making it appear as more of a colonial, but largely within the same footprint. There is a slight expansion over the existing garage
Right,
and mudroom.
right.
No additional comments.
I have no comments or questions. Public comment? Seeing none. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second that.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Hearing is closed. No more testimony will be taken. Would the board like to proceed now? Any discussion, or?
I didn't see any, so I don't think there's any need for any more.
I don't need any discussion. Anyone else?
Unless you want to talk about the steps some more.
I know a good personal injury lawyer.
I almost needed them.
Okay, give me his name, Jim.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve, Scott, second is Suzanne. Findings.
Findings, let's see. It's in an AGB zoning, it's for Point Bay. I do have that it's in a flood zone, Kevin.
The very front of the lot is in the flood zone. The house itself is not.
Oh, okay, okay. It's a 12,188 square foot lot, it's private right of way. Existing is 16.4 over 2198, proposed is 17.4 over 22.8. Did I get it right?
Sounds right.
You know you gotta check up on it.
I zoned out for a second, so. Yes.
Yeah, it's private, I already said that. Well, there was one other previous decision. 4 bedrooms is allowed per septic.
Reduction from 5 to 4.
3,
3.
yeah.
Septic's
5 to
approved.
3 bedrooms?
Oh, it was 4.
I have it
Four,
as
isn't it?
4 was the
because there's one
testimony.
in the garage, basement.
Sorry about that. I thought it was 3.
I'm thinking.
You can reference the existing nonconformity, no new nonconformity is being created. Approximately 115 square feet being added. It's still within by right construction at 16.9%. Public comment about the septic from Board of Health is okay. There's a Concom decision. 240-10.28, not more detrimental. Note the bedroom reduction. Let me just, for the purpose of the record, to say that part of the lot is in a flood zone, the structure is not in a flood zone, so it doesn't trigger FEMA compliance or issues. Any other findings?
I had a question, maybe a finding. They're putting in a new dock and replacing existing 10-inch timbers. Are we approving that, or we just concur?
We don't have any jurisdiction over that. so-
Oh, okay, so just, so
Not our
not according
bailiwick.
to existing, no, that's fine.
Good question, though.
We don't need waiters.
No, we don't need to buy waiters.
Any other
Steps.
Thank you.
findings, conditions?
Conditions is Concom.
Concom, per plans, standard
We may
hours.
need revised plans, maybe.
Can we, Noreen, are you comfortable we condition if revised plans, making any administrative approvals? We don't need to, a full hearing on this.
It would be, if there were any, it would be a reduction.
It's fine. Standard hours of work.
It's pretty tight up there with construction equipment.
Yeah, just work with the police department if
Yeah.
need be to, if there's need to put anything in the roadway. Other conditions?
No further structures.
In the brief, oh, sorry. I guess, Kevin, when you go back into the file, it's saying here in the brief
Have
that,
to reopen if we're taking testimony.
yeah, it just says from 5 to 3.
That was a mistake, because I missed one in the basement that,
Yeah.
isn't, there's no changes there, though.
Okay,
I caught that in preparation.
We'll tell them that procedure.
Just put, testimony was for 4 bedrooms and Board of Health approved 4 bedrooms.
Correct.
That's sufficient.
thank you, sorry.
Any other conditions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Thank you very much.
Next up is 05323 Stinnett, trustee, 5 Harbor Hill Road, Woods Hole, requesting a special permit to construct an addition exceeding 20% lot coverage by structure. And we've had a request for a continuation on this matter. Was a date proposed, Noreen?
They had requested September 7.
Attorney Clower, or if that's still a good date for you, September 7, you said?
Or the 14th. I mean,
Whatever's best for the board. We're revising the plan slightly, so we're not in a rush necessarily.
I'll defer to you, Noreen, as the keeper of the, or Ashley, as the
Calendar.
keeper of the calendar.
All right, we'll keep it on the 7th.
Motion to continue to,
That's what I'm here for. I got a letter. Will I get another letter when the next hearing occurs?
No, it's just, we're going to announce it for September
September
7th.
7th.
Yeah,
Can I submit comments in writing? or
Absolutely.
Certainly, sir.
back in
Yep.
person? How do I address the comments?
they can be sent to the office.
To your
Yeah,
office?
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay, because
Yep.
I've already composed the thing in my mind, so
Oh.
now I'll have to write it down.
Okay.
But maybe that will come up there.
Thank
A
you.
motion to continue the hearing to September 2nd, made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye?
Opposed? That is continued. Next up, under new hearings, we have 055-23 Brennan, trustees of 28 Nemasket Road, West Falmouth, requesting a special permit to raise and rebuild the non-conforming detached accessory structure.
All right, we have Robert T. and Andrea Brennan, trustees, 55 Russet Hill Road, Sherburne, Mass. Applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240, 102A, Code of Falmouth, to raise and rebuild the non-conforming detached accessory structure on subject property known as 28 Nemasket Road, West Falmouth. And from the town departments, we have assessors request inspection prior to CO. Water. If water service is required for the accessory structure, it must be a new 1-inch water service. The water meter must be installed inside the accessory structure. Existing service. The water department recommends the existing service be upgraded to 1-inch service, the meter pit eliminated, and the water meter be installed inside the existing dwelling. Fire department, no comment. Engineering. Number 1, this application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Nemasket Road is a private right-of-way in this area. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, we recommend the board add a condition that requires the addition of dry wells, rain garden, or other stormwater infiltration measures or stormwater harvesting measures such as rain barrels for the new roof area at a minimum. 5, we have only one address on file for this parcel. Based on the submitted plans, a secondary address should be assigned. The primary address will remain 28 Nemasket Road. The secondary structure will be assigned 28A Nemasket Road. We request that engineering be required to sign off on the building permit, at which time we will assign the address. We recommend the following condition be included in any approval. Upon completion of construction, the applicant shall post the address for this residence, affixing the legible numbers required. There is a time limit for compliance on this. Number 6, the plans show that the stone wall between this parcel and lot 19 does not follow the line. Rather, it's on the abutting property. Where the proposed construction will be around 10 feet from the property line, which is closer than the stone wall, we recommend that a limited work be added to the plans to protect the abutting property. The limit of work shall include how it will be demarcated in the field and include any erosion and sediment controls required to protect the abutting property. 7, where this project falls under the jurisdictions of the Conservation Commission, we defer to the Commission for Stormwater Management and Construction Erosion Controls. That was from engineering. No comment there. And this is BSS. The new accessory structure is not an increase in flow over the previous structure, so the existing septic is suitable sized. The edge of the leaching field needs to be respected when foundation tubes are placed for the proposed deck, so the structures are not placed in the leaching field. That's what I have, and I don't think any letters, none came in today. That's what we have.
There's also the 1994 special permit and 1994 variance on this
Right.
particular project. So, for the applicant, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you again. Kevin Clower for the record. I am here before you tonight on behalf of Bob and Andrea Brennan, the owners of 28 Nemasket Road. They're seeking permission to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming accessory structure on the property. This is 28 Nemasket, which is the northern portion of West Falmouth, just south of Old Silver Beach. I tried to get all 4 directions in that sentence, but I couldn't. But we're just south of Old Silver Beach. I will say it, this is an incredibly pretty street in a lovely part of town. This particular lot is 35,166 square feet. It's in a residential B zoning district, and it is in the flood zone. The southern end of the lot where the dwelling is located in the velocity zone. The accessory structure itself is located in an AE 15 flood zone. Presently, there's a 4-bedroom, single-family dwelling, as well as an accessory structure, which is a 2-story building with 2 bedrooms and recreation space. The total footprint is 3,878 square feet, which is 12.35% lot coverage by structure. The accessory structure is non-conforming. It's in that it's in the front yard. It's 21.3 feet where 50 is required. And even then only by special permit. It is otherwise entirely conforming to setback requirements and lot coverage both by structures and structures paving and parking. It's well below both of those thresholds. The applicants purchased this property in 2014. The accessory structure is in not the best condition, and they'd like to rebuild it in order to fit aesthetically with the house and then the overall design of the property. They've been making improvements to the primary dwelling and the landscaping over the past few years, and it's now time to address this. The proposed structure is the same use as at present. There'll be 2 bedrooms, one to be used as an office. It creates storage space, which is a walkout basement area, which is not to be finished. That's in compliance with the flood zone standards. Though expanded in size, lot coverage by structure will be only 13.5%, and lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking will be only 25.08%. The non-conforming front yard setback is slightly improved from 21.3 feet to 25.5, and the proposed ridge height will be 21 feet 9 inches below the 22 allowed. We did submit a revised plan delineating the limit of work. That's the plan that's before you right now. This project does require a special permit under 240-10.2A. That section again states that pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed by special permit provided they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. Again, asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not the alteration creates any new nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. Here, there's no new nonconformities created. The existing nonconforming setback is improved. The lot coverage percentages remain well under the allowable thresholds. There's no impact to views and vistas. It's a private way in this area. And the dwelling and accessory structure will remain in line with nearby homes in the neighborhood, and there's no change in the number of bedrooms. This project is a significant improvement for the applicants without creating any new nonconformities. It meets all the requirements of 240-12.1E. There's no adverse effects, and certainly none that would overbalance the benefits I've gone over. The size of this property is more than adequate in size. It's the same usage, and it doesn't change the nature of use, only increases the owner's utilization of it. And there's no impact on traffic flow and safety to this project. I believe this board can and should grant the special permit, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have.
I'm going to start off tonight. Having read the 1994 special permit variance, it references a garage with workspace. There's nothing else in the file about, or building permits or anything, and we've now got 2 bedrooms and dwelling. Can you,
It's not a dwelling.
how do we end up going from a garage with bedrooms that are not clearly referenced in the zone, in the previous special permit or in the variance? Can you give us some timeline or
So,
proof
well,
of
the-
what put in?
Sure. So the Brennans have owned this property for 10 years. It had been like that well before they purchased it. This is how the condition they purchased it in. Under state law, improvements or changes made even without the benefit of a special permit become legally non-conforming after 10 years. There's no prohibition against additional habitable space on a property, so long as the septic has the capacity to address it. The referral from the Board of Health indicates that there is sufficient capacity here to address that. So I don't know what happened between 1994 and 2014, but at some point there was a change in the use of that first floor, presumably from garage space to bedroom space, but it is not a dwelling. There is no cooking facilities in this property, and there's no proposed cooking facilities in this structure either.
You know, right. Mr. Finner, do you have any questions?
No, just observation. Any building with texture 111 on it, you start tearing it off, you're gonna find another reason to knock it down. So,
I don't know what that means, but yes.
no, I have nothing
Frank?
Well, the 10-year statute only gives you the status of a legal non-conforming structure. The structure is apparently legal, but the use may not be. But it doesn't give you a pre-existing non-conforming one.
So, but the use itself is not non-conforming because you are allowed additional habitable space on this lot. It's just accessory habitable space. It's not a second dwelling. I would agree very much if we were trying to say that this is a grandfather dwelling, but we're not saying that.
So there's 2 bedrooms. Are there any, what else is there? Are there any cooking facilities?
Bathroom.
Is there a
There is
stove, a
there is a-
refrigerator, anything?
No, there might be a refrigerator, but it's the cooking facilities that render it a dwelling.
Right.
And there are none, and we are proposing none.
Okay.
And happy to condition it that this is to remain a single-family use, and they're not allowed to rent this separately.
That would be a condition?
Jerry?
No, I think Frank covered some of the things else, you know.
Yeah.
The engineering department's calling it a secondary structure with a different address.
I can't help what the engineering does, but we're not proposing this as a second dwelling. Let there be no confusion. We are not proposing this as a second dwelling. Happy to condition it as not being a second dwelling. It is just additional accessory habitable space, which we can have.
This one's giving me bad vibes.
Mark?
Typically, the engineering department requires a separate address for the ease of identifying it in case of a fire, so.
No, I just mean because of the fact that it went from a garage with a workshop, no bathroom, to 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. There's not even a garage door.
Again, this, we shouldn't be asked to atone for the sins of a previous owner. This is what it was when they purchased it 10 years ago. We're here tonight doing what we think is the right thing by coming to you asking for approvals.
What I would like to see, clearly, it's a very nice project. There's no opposition. You've hit all the bullet points if this is a normal special permit, but as the applicant, I'd like you to see some submissions just documenting, we bought the property 10 years ago by way of affidavit or through something saying,
We can
this is how we found it. You know, so-
Happy to do that, and also we can take testimony at the hearing, and
I looked in the windows. They're telling the truth.
Was the pool already there too?
no, the pool's a recent addition.
Was the summer house and the sheds already there too? I mean, there's five
There's a
things on that
gazebo and
property.
a shed.
Yeah, it went from a small
It went from a
cottage in
little
1994
cottage
to a very nice, very nice parcel.
The gazebo and the shed were added with the pool.
The driveway shed was rebuilt.
Yeah. You just want to come to the microphone, ma'am. Thank you.
So the driveway shed was rebuilt, but and the gazebo came with the pool 5 years ago.
Mark or Tony, do you have questions?
I think you've covered it. I don't have any more questions.
I agree, same. No further questions.
Is the board looking to continue this for additional proof, or do you want some discussion on this project, or?
I think we can approve a condition
Condition
that they,
If you'd like,
Submit.
Mr. Chair, if I can make a suggestion, if Mrs. Brennan would like to come up and speak testimony into the record, so we have it as part of the record.
That'll be fine.
that works.
Right, Andrea Brennan.
Good evening.
So when we bought the property, there was actually barn doors, garage doors there. We replaced that with the slider, just to be able to keep the bugs and everything out. The shed by the driveway, there was a little shed there, and we just had that rebuilt. That was also rotting. There was a shed in the back of where the pool is. That one was also rotting. We rebuilt that. Is there anything I didn't address with those?
Gazebo, pool, there's five structures.
Right, so the gazebo is totally, the gazebo is
new.
totally new,
Gotcha.
and everything else has been replaced.
But more to the 10-year component, we bought the property.
Oh, and the bedrooms, so when we bought it, there was kind of like a little living area downstairs, 2 rooms upstairs, and a bathroom with a stand-up shower
In the regular house.
in the little house, yeah, in the
In the
cottage.
garage.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Well,
Yes,
they had already put the bathroom in.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Follow-up
And we have, the pictures from when we bought it.
Thank you.
Follow-up questions?
No.
Public comment. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to
Discussion?
close.
Do you want to close, or do you want to have some discussion first?
I think
everything we talked about,
Yeah.
we'll just put in the conditions,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think
Motion to
we need
close.
Okay, motion to close, I'll give it to Stan, is that a second? Second, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing is closed, no more testimony will be taken. You need discussion about this, or prepared to act? Act, Tony?
Quick question. So we're not going to take a written affidavit on the 10-year pre-existence?
We've taken testimony, the
that's
question
good
is, the discussion is, you made a comment, you looked in the window, you're
Yeah,
satisfied
I
that
mean,
this is
it's
more than 10
nothing
years?
that's new, I mean,
Do we want a letter submitted, like this?
So my personal view is, I'm not opposed to the project, I would just like something in the file,
As opposed to the
an
testimony?
affidavit as opposed to just testimony. I mean, we can certainly take testimony, I'm not
I think
opposed to
the
approving.
applicants would want something in the
That's,
file.
Mrs. Brandon.
pictures.
It would benefit
That
them.
was the other, if they've got pictures.
Totally.
And going forward, Attorney Clower, if these sort of situations come up, I would prefer, if possible, if it is part of the submission, just to show it's non-conforming, there's a grandfathered use by virtue of time. Our client bought it in this condition.
Sure.
It makes our decision a little easier that someone's not being.
Sadly, and this is my fault, I wasn't even aware of a 94 special permit, because it's not registered land, so you have to do a title search effectively. We don't typically do that as a matter of course, just because it's expensive and time-consuming. So, sometimes we're aware of existing special permits, often we're not.
It was actually a variance.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware of that. But, that's certainly something we can look for moving forward.
I still think it would be, we could still condition a letter can still be received even though we're closed. I think it's
Yeah,
okay.
the letter's just gonna
Right.
reinforce what
It's
she
just for
said.
the file, it just helps them, it helps.
That's reasonable. I think it's
You know,
reasonable.
yeah.
I'm happy to proceed with that.
And
That's
if
an
you have any of
excellent
those
suggestion.
pictures, it would help.
Yeah. Everyone, board satisfied then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm guessing someone like to make a motion to approve with conditions?
I would like to make a motion to approve with conditions and get out of here by 7:15.
I'll second that.
We got one more, but I'll talk fast.
Okay. Findings.
Findings.
Oh, yeah? Shouldn't be.
It's in our,
Going to open that, sir? Please.
Glad I can.
We'll be legal from this
Survey
moment on.
commission.
all right, it's in an RB district.
So I don't melt, that's why.
Not in an overlay. Flood zone, VE 18, AE 17. Previous zoning board appeals is 12/13/94, if you want to look it up, Kev. It's a special permit and a variance. The lot size is 35/166. It's a private road. Existing is 12.3 over 22.22. Proposed is 13.51 over 25.08. What else do I have? You said the height of the garage is 21 feet. What else do I have on here? That's all findings. The applicant said there's no cooking. That's under conditions.
Conditions.
No letters of support or opposition. Anything else you can think of?
Regarding under the findings, just reference the 94 special
I
permit
did.
decision was for a garage.
With work area.
Testimony was that
Workshop garage.
a workshop garage. The testimony from the applicant was that they had purchased the property that had been previously converted into additional habitable space. The board received testimony from the applicant that it is over 10 years old, therefore it is essentially illegal at this point. The site visit from Mr. Finneran, I would agree with that, indicates that the work was more than 10 years old, and the board is satisfied with the representation of the applicant regarding that issue. Any other findings?
There's no conformity with the flood zone.
Yes. Conditions.
Single-family use,
Single-family
No
use.
cooking.
No
No cooking
cooking.
facilities,
No rental.
not to be, no rental.
The condition on the stone wall, that was
Yes.
in.
Yes, incorporate the engineering,
Right.
all the town referrals,
Yeah, all boards, right.
update of water per plans, hours of work, standard, all of our standard conditions. Any other
On the water, they only recommended a new service to the house. They didn't require it, is that correct?
Let's read it again. That's a good,
That's correct.
good
Good
question.
question.
Let's read it, Frank.
Not a separate amount.
I think it said if.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It says accessory structure underlined. If a water service is required for the accessory structure, it must be a new 1-inch water service. So he's going by, it's a garage.
There's already,
Well, no,
It's
but
already
there's a
got
bathroom
water.
there.
There's water, so
They're gonna need,
Water service, the water meter must be installed inside the structure.
I suggest updating per the water departments to the 1-inch and removing any meter pit.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I
main
don't
serves
think
the
they-
main house.
But then there was a second section that talked about
They
the
said
main
there's
house.
more
There was a
about the
second, there was a second sentence, time out. Existing service, the water department recommends the existing service be upgraded to 1-inch service. The meter pit eliminated and the water meter installed in the existing dwelling. So he calls one an accessory structure and one existing dwelling, so that's why it's confusing, kind of.
Yeah, but the if in the beginning of the
Is,
first.
is there
paragraph.
only
If.
one water main coming in, servicing both structures?
Well, I would probably go to the house first and then out to the
Yeah.
accessory structure. And it says if.
It does say
So
if.
as long as they don't replace that line, they only have to do it to the house and trench part of their driveway.
There's gotta be already a water service there.
Yeah, but they want it upgraded because it's outside.
Yeah.
So that's gonna have to go up to the 1-inch, but
I just generally defer to the agents,
yeah, they know what's going on.
Department head,
But usually it
give them
goes
what
to
they
the main
want.
meter and then it'll come out afterwards. I mean, there's not two services, so I think the if indicates if they wanna leave it the way it is, they can in the accessory structure.
Right.
The house needs the new 1-inch
Right.
and a meter pit inside.
just incorporate the water department's referral. Any other conditions?
Just the addressing for engineering.
Yes, the
And
address,
the
yeah,
address,
that's part of the engineering
that's
comments,
all
but yeah,
in there.
having to update the address. add the A.
Also a tight road, they may need, help with construction.
Work with the police department if need be to
There's
limit.
a fair amount of blacktop between the two. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. Won't be able to play pickleball, so. Yeah, that's, the
saw
pickleball's gonna
that
be out.
Yeah, they're not on town courts.
Any
Now
other,
your neighbors know.
any
Now
other,
they all
any
know
other
you're in
conditions?
And then, follow whatever
Pickleballers are like
conservation
bikers.
requires, right?
I'm sorry, Ernie, what was that?
Conservation.
Any conservation
Oh,
requirements?
yeah, that's town referral, any comment restrictions. Anything else? I think that's good. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a vote.
Thank you.
Last on our new hearings this evening is 05823 Garrity 32 Cove Street, East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling.
We have an application from John Garrity, 5 Carberry Lane in Milton, Mass., applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240, 102A, the Code of Falmouth, to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on subject property known as 32 Cove Street in East Falmouth. I thought it was Cove Lane. And I think I have no letters of opposition. Nope, right? None came in today. So we have water, no comment. Planning, no comment. Fire department, no comment. Engineering. Let's see. 1, this application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Cove Street is a private right-of-way in this area. Number 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-ways. 4, where this project falls in the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, we defer to the Commission for Stormwater Management and Construction Erosion Controls, and we recommend the following condition be included in any approval. Upon completion of construction, the applicant shall post the address for this residence. Affixing legible numbers required. Time limit for compliance. And I think that's all I have. We have the Concom is not meeting until this next week, 8/9. Yeah, and then we have Board of Health. It's assessed as a 5-bedroom house. It's being reduced to 4. Septic system has an IA system and was approved by the Board of Health on 6/5/23. And that's what I have.
For the applicant, good evening.
Good evening again, Kevin Clower for the record. I am here before you representing John Garrity, the owner of 32 Cove Street. I've been working with a fairly large team on this project, including Mike Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, Bernice Waller, design for the landscape, and Albert Noonan, the architect. We are seeking permission on behalf of Mr. Garrity to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming dwelling. This property is 32 Cove Street. It is located on an inlet of Great Pond at the southernmost end of the Acapesca Peninsula. The lot is 13,365 square feet. It's in an RB zoning district, and it is in an AE 13 flood zone. Presently, there's a 5-bedroom, single-family dwelling footprint of just shy of 1,400 square feet. As it exists, there are a few nonconformities. The front yard setback is 21.6 feet, where 25 is required, and the rear yard setback to the 3-foot contour of the waters of Vineyard Sound is 18 feet, where 50 is required. It is also non-conforming to flood zone requirements as it has a finished basement in it. The dwelling was built in 1969, needs significant repairs and upgrades, and given the location in the flood zone and the scope of the work, they're seeking to raise and reconstruct in order to comply with those requirements. Pursuant to the building code and FEMA regulations, the proposed structure will have all habitable space and mechanicals at least 1 foot above the flood zone elevation, which is approximately 6 feet above the existing grade. The proposed plans do not create any new nonconformities. The front yard setback remains the same at 21.6. We really can't move it back because of rear yard setback issues and Concom. We're certainly well within Concom jurisdiction. The rear yard setback to the waters of Vineyard Sound is improved from 18 to 20. Lot coverage by structure is increased but remains only 16.5%. The bedroom count does decrease to 4. The applicants are installing a denitrification system, which, as was noted, was approved by the Board of Health. We've been through 1 Conservation Commission hearing. It went well. They asked for some very minor changes regarding some of the plantings and trees, and we expect that approval or them to close it without any further concerns next week. There's also significant mitigation plantings that are being proposed here. Proposed ridge of the structure will be at 31.9 feet below 35, and it will comply with FEMA flood zone regulations. Despite these improvements, we still do require a special permit under 240-10.2A. At the risk of repeating myself, from earlier hearings, under that section, pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed by special permit, provided that what is proposed is not substantially more detrimental than what exists. You're asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not the alteration creates any new dimensional nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. Here, there's no new nonconformities created. The front yard setback is unaffected. The rear yard setback is improved. And there's no change to views and vistas. Again, this is a private way. Project as proposed represents a significant improvement for the owners, both aesthetically and functionally. This is one of the more unique and frankly cool designs I've seen for a home that were brought before you recently. It improves the living area, reduces the bedroom count, and is by no means substantially more detrimental than what exists. There's an improvement to the effect of nitrogen, as there is a decrease in the bedrooms and the denitrification system, and it has the added benefit of complying with the flood zone requirements. There's no adverse effects here, and certainly none that overbalance any of the number of benefits I've described. It is certainly not substantially more detrimental than what exists. It meets the requirements for 10.2A and 12.1E, and I would ask that this board grant the special permit, but I would be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Board questions. Start with you, Jerry.
No questions at this time.
Frank?
No.
Mark?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
I have no questions. FEMA compliance, IA system, you're hitting all the check marks with me, Kevin. Thank you.
And I met with a neighbor today that was very happy about it, but didn't write you a letter. But I'm speaking for him.
That's all right.
Scott?
His brother this afternoon.
2 yeses.
Scott?
Attorney Clower, just,
Couldn't let it go, could you, Scott?
so the 33 feet that you referenced for the ridge, is that?
31.9 is what I think I said.
Well, I had 33 on this. Is that to the top of the glass? So we have an outside stairwell that takes you up to a roof deck, I guess?
It's a glass
Yeah.
balustrade there, yeah.
Yeah. So are you including that,
I'll tell you
or
in a second.
since
Let me
it's a
see here.
structure?
So, let's see here.
I'm on page 21.
Yeah,
in the-
it doesn't look like they did include that. I mean, you know, I could argue that that is an ornamental aspect of it, but it's certainly not an additional, so that's 31.9 to the ridge. It's certainly not an additional 3.5 feet for that. If you wanted a revised plan that notes to the top of that, we could certainly submit it, but it's not included.
If you would, I guess, again, we want to make sure that we're I would say it is part of a structure, but
Well,
it's a good project.
Yeah,
so.
it's certainly, it can be part of the structure, but there's an exemption for ornamental aspects of designs like a cupola, which is certainly part of a structure, but not integral to the design.
But isn't that like a safety aspect, that it has to be there?
I don't know exactly how high that is. There is like a railing has to be a certain height, and if that's serving as a railing, but it could be an ornamental flair of it too. We can have that revised.
I think so. I think there was a plan that showed that extra height to be like 1.1 feet. So I think I would agree that it's still within the 35-foot height max.
Seeing if I can find.
I think it was on that
You
previous plan
satisfied
that
just
you-
conditioning the revised?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin.
Tony?
Yeah, so it's
I think that this is definitely a unique design, but a definite improvement to the community. I have no other questions.
took me a few minutes to wrap my head around the design the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Great.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Art Deco and meets Cape Cod. It's
Yeah.
nice. Public comment. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to close.
A motion to close, is there a second?
Oh, just so you know, the 33 is to the top of the balustrade. If you look-
34.6 altogether, I think.
If you look at this page here, it does show to the top of the glass is 33.0.
What page you want to cover?
33.2.
21.
It
Got it here.
looks
the
like it
left
is
of the-
page A3.
Just found this one. but-
8.4 and 16.2 is 24.6, and 9 feet 9 is 33.6. So that's 34 feet 3 inches altogether.
I was just looking at this calculation right here.
Yeah.
16.2, 9 feet 9, and 8 feet 4. My 4, excuse me. Still,
I'm satisfied.
it's under 35.
We have enough testimony now?
Yes.
Going with 34.3?
All those in favor to close the hearing, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed. No more testimony will be taken. How would the board like to proceed? Do we need discussion?
I do.
I don't need any.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve by Scott, is there a second? Second to
There's not even a
Suzanne.
game on tonight.
Findings.
Something going on.
Findings, let's see what we got here. It's in an RB zone. Overlay is Great Pond. Flood zone is AE 13, AE 14. It's in the SNR overlay. No previous decisions. Existing is 10.3 over 17.4. Proposed is 16.5 over 20.4. It's on a private road.
16.7 over 20.1.
What did I do, Kevin? Tell me again. Proposed?
16.7 over 20.1.
God, thank you. Sorry. Height, we're going with 34.3, I guess. The contour in the back is being improved by 2 feet, front staying the same. Bedrooms are down to 4. It has the new septic. And that's it.
Just 240, 10.2A, not more detrimental. Coming into FEMA compliance, 6-foot elevation, nonconformities to vineyard sound is being reduced, no new nonconformities being created, 1-bedroom reduction, talking with the IA system. Any other findings? Conditions? Per plans? Hours of work, engineering comments, any Concom decision? Do you still need, are you satisfied, or do you want the revised plans? So
No, I'm
you're satisfied?
satisfied.
Okay.
Do we need an as-built when we're pushing 35, as close as we are?
I was gonna recommend that you have an as-built for the foundation, so that you're assuring that you're not any closer to the setback. So I suppose they could do a height-certed framing, just to verify that you're not exceeding.
The only problem with that is it's not the frame.
Right, you're
It's-
not, yeah, you're not gonna, well, though, I guess at completion, they can have the surveyor shoot it, just to verify that the height doesn't exceed, right?
Since the Concom hasn't issued its decision, do we want to authorize the zoning administrator to make any necessary minor changes, or do we want to come back and force if they need to make changes?
I'm okay with the minor changes.
I'm okay with
Okay, you want to condition that, please, Noreen? Anything else?
Do we have a clear definition of what minor changes are? Or do we just incorporate the decisions of the Concom? We're probably not gonna.
I think we just incorporated it. There's just
If there's anything of substance, I'll bring it back to you.
Just trying to expedite it if.
No, exactly, I want to expedite, I just want to make sure that, I don't think we need a full hearing if the Concom says something needs to be done. It can be done administratively, I just want the zoning administrator to be able to approve it.
Kevin said he already went to a hearing and it wasn't
I'm not anticipating, I'm just trying to,
much of a change.
ignoring a little flexibility to keep things moving along.
Actually, the zoning regulations describe what,
Yeah,
what's
pursuant to the regulations. So.
administrative.
Any additional findings or conditions needed? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's a vote.
We gotta do this on a night that's like a Celtics game or a Bruins game. We gotta move it like that's be then, right? I mean, there's a soccer game on tonight. I'm gonna watch the Revs game, but it's not the same.
Things under open meeting this evening. We have minutes of June 29th and July 20th. We'll be tabling both of those. We had a request for insubstantial change to number 5020 and 5020M, the Village at Brick Hill LLC, 511 Brick Hill Road, West Falmouth. The request for the insubstantial has been withdrawn by the applicant, so we don't need to take that up this evening. Number 3 was, in light of the potential upcoming 40Bs, a vote to authorize the zoning administrator to apply for mass housing grants and to seek any additional assistance.
A motion?
Thanks,
Good
Kevin.
night, Mr. Clower.
Marie, will you update us,
Absolutely.
please? Can I ask that?
Of course.
So the application to mass housing cannot take place until the application is filed. And as you know, we're required to open the hearing within 30 days of a file. So it's all gonna happen very quickly.
And you have already touched base with
I
Mass
have,
Housing?
yep.
Good. Sounds good.
We have a motion, we have a second to authorize the zoning administrator to seek assistance. We'll give that to
Second.
Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's a vote. Board discussion. Anyone have anything needs to be discussed this evening? Board updates?
We are moving forward with the bylaw updates. There will be some items on the town meeting for this fall. Right now, Frank and I have been working on home-based business, which is gonna be a merger of the home occupation that we currently have and the home-based service business, because there was some variances and people were having trouble deciding which they fell under. But I think we've been able to pretty well streamline that, so that people are better able to understand what they can do at home as of right and what they would need permitting for.
Thank you. Anything else? Future agenda items. All right, that exhausts everything on our agenda. Our next meeting will be held August 24th, 2023 at 6:30 here in the Selectmen's Meeting Room. We are adjourned.